Hey everybody, welcome back to Excel. What we want to work on today is formulas. How do we use them in Excel? Maybe how we even write them in Excel. We're going to be focusing on this week 6 assignment, the sum, average, and if functions assignment. And you see right here, these are the documents or the instructions on how to go about doing this. So we're going to open this up. And what I'm going to do is I want to try to use this as more than a tutorial. I want to use this as kind of like an introduction to making or writing formulas in Excel. Many of you have used these before. You may have used them a little bit, you may have used them a lot. Many of you probably have never done this before, so you're really not sure how this is going to go. Don't worry, after we do this little video and you go through this assignment, you're going to feel a lot more comfortable doing these kinds of things. So this is the assignment itself. These are the directions, and what you're going to do is you're going to follow these instructions to develop a table like this. There's actually two tables, but you're going to follow these instructions, and you need to follow them very, very, very closely. Don't skip over anything. Don't figure, oh, I'll come back to this, or I can miss this. Not a big deal. Follow these to the letter so that you end up getting a table just like this. There's going to be another one as well. I actually put up kind of a basic one right here for you. So you're going to end up having something that looks similar to this. So that's what you're going to be doing to start everything off. So you need to populate these tables before you do anything with the formulas. So we're going to do that first, and you're going to put all the numbers in as you see them, just like you see them. Again, make sure they're very precise, because any little bit could throw off your final amounts, and you don't want that to happen. So let's get into a little bit about what these formulas are. All right, you can add, you can average, you can do all sorts of different kinds of things in Excel. Think of Excel as having a really, really, really great calculator. It's far more than that, obviously, but you don't need to worry about adding all these numbers up individually. I've got a little table right here if you don't want to. And that can be really, really a lifesaver for a lot of people. So let's start. I'll show you what these things do, how they work, even write a couple of them, so you have a really a solid understanding of what they do. I've got this little table here of days of the week and different kinds of fruit, very basic. Let's say I want to put the totals right here. There's a couple things I can do in order to get these added up together. One of them, though, is not just adding them up in my head or anything like that. There's a couple things. The easiest thing to do is to click into where you want the total to go and go to the AutoSum function. When I click on that, something happens. Excel assumes that I want to add all those numbers in that row. In this case, I do. Excel kind of knows that this is where you're going. So when I hit enter, I'm going to get that amount right there. And when I click on it, you're going to notice, say, for instance, if I click over here, 12 appears, or honeydew, or 45, right? When I click right here, the formula itself appears, okay? That's actually the formula, not the number 176. So I just did a very, very quick AutoSum. I can also, if you want, I can write out the formula. You probably have to learn how to do this at some point, and certainly for this assignment, you're going to want to learn how to do this. Whenever you write out any kind of formula, you're always going to start the same way, with an equal sign. And you notice what happens. Look up here at some of the features up here when I hit that equal sign. I'm telling Excel, boom, that I want to write a formula. So I can write the word sum. I can also go up right over here if I want to the functions and hit sum. But if I go there, it's already saying, look, you want to add these numbers together. So that's the function. This is the function of the formula. Now I'm going to put in my range, what numbers I actually want to add up. So I'm going to put in B2 and then a colon, and then I'm going to put in F2, and then I'm going to close this and hit enter. Same thing happens, okay? Now for AutoSums, you don't need to do that. That's why there's an AutoSum number over there, or a button over there. Very, very easy. But it's for more elaborate formulas, you're going to want to do something like that. You're going to want to at least know how to do it. Now here's the thing that's even nicer. You know how there is this little fill handle that allows you to basically populate, you know, more cells with that same thing, 16, right? Something like that. That's kind of cool. Or in sequences like days of the week, I can use the fill handle and it'll populate more days of the week or something like that. Pretty cool. With the formula, the number 176 is not going to be copied. It's the formula itself with the different ranges. So I've just basically clicked and dragged, and I've added all these numbers up just with the click of a mouse. Very easy. Same thing I can do right here. I'm going to make it a little easier. I'm going to go like this, and I'm going to hit AutoSum 169, and then I'm going to hit that little fill handle and bring it over. Now all the columns and all the rows have been added. Very, very easy. Very, very cool. Doesn't have to be addition though if you don't want addition. If you needed for some reason to average these, same thing. You can average them. In fact, you can drop down AutoSum and hit average there, and it does the same thing as before. When I hit enter, it gives me the average. Or if I wanted, I could also write it out, and I'm going to put in average, and then I'm going to put in my range, which is going to be B2 colon, and that's going to be B8. And you see what happens here. Same thing happens. I've got an average. And again, I can do the fill handle, and I can bring it over if I want. Same thing over here, and this is just with an average. This is pretty easy. It's actually kind of cool. It makes things a lot easier for you, okay? So remember, you can use AutoSum. There's other options as well. You can write it yourself. This is what a formula is. A formula is this. The word average is the function, and this here is what's called the argument. And that's how a formula looks in Excel. Now, let's move on to the assignment itself. This is what you're going to end up with in terms of the skeleton of the table. Now in the instructions, they're going to tell you what you want to fill into that skeleton. I'd also recommend that you kind of pretty it up a little bit like it is here, put some color in it, make it your own, make sure the numbers are correct, but everything else, that's certainly up to you. I'd recommend a little bit more. So it's going to walk you through how you, again, write a sum function, or how you can actually use one with AutoSum. And then there's some average ones as well that you're going to do. Scroll down a little farther, and you see there's going to be a second table, the commission bonus table, where you're going to be drawing the data from this to make a determination about who earns a bonus in this hypothetical scenario. This is the if function, and you can find this when you go to the AutoSum More Functions, and I'll show you where that is right here. I'm going to do a drop down, go to More Functions, and it's the fourth one down from the top. The if function basically allows you to make a determination about a certain condition being met or not being met. And if it's true or if it's false, the answer will be different, essentially. And so that's going to require, though, that you populate some of these different kinds of areas here. This is very, very much logic-oriented. Those of you who have taken logic before, or who might take Philosophy 310 or something like that, will learn a little bit more about logic. But for our sake, what you're going to do, according to the instructions, is you're going to choose this, and you're going to populate the data in here as it shows in step 29. And what the if function essentially says is this: if a certain condition is this, then the end result will be this. If, then. That's really what we're looking at. It's a logical test. So what we're doing here is, if a certain amount is over or under $30,000, then $500 will appear here. The nice thing about this is that it actually gives you the answer so you can check your work by the end. It basically says at least 3 of the sales associates are going to have a $500 bonus, meaning 2 of them are going to have zeros. So if you go through this whole thing and you've got these screenshots here, and you find that the numbers are not corresponding with that, then you probably did something wrong and you can go back and do it. But that's the really nice thing here, is they understand that you're learning. You're kind of figuring these things out. This may be the first time you go through this. Hopefully, a video like this is helpful as well. As always, if you have questions, let your instructor know, and the instructor will help you walk through whatever you may need to walk through. But if you go through slowly, you progress slowly, I think you're going to get the hang of it very quickly. Thanks, folks.